Hi guys, how are you? Why is studying the early church something that I think every Christian should at least know a part of? Well, there's a couple reasons, really. One, you can see the earliest of church, okay? These councils would include the church, what they would call representatives, cardinals, or bishops. I don't even know if cardinals was established at that point. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to clarify language and teachings so that everyone was on the same page. Okay? We all know about the dreaded Council of Nicaea. This is supposedly where everything changed. Really didn't. Were there some funky things? Yes. But you can do a Google search and look it up. Church history. Okay, please make sure you put church history in your search. The reason being is you may start getting some of the lore or folklore behind those. Okay. Now, after the Council of Nicaea was the Council of Constantinople, 381. I'm kind of shooting here in the dark from the hip. And after that was the Council of Ephesus. Okay. Now, what I'm getting at with these councils, why are these things important? You see, early on in the Council of Constantinople, Mary, the Mother of God, which I know most Christians don't like that, but she was considered and given the title of Theotokos, which means God-bearer in its raw form. But it was the acknowledgement that Mary brought down, and this is important, the church also established that Jesus was the begotten Son of the Father to Mary. In other words, Jesus existed before Mary. Okay, just so you understand that language. But in that sense, Mary was considered a divinity. Now, this is important because we go to, and there was other things in there, you can look these up. And I could be getting some confused with the next one, which is the Ephesus. But in the Council of Ephesus, and hopefully I'm not getting these mixed up, Jesus, the nature of Jesus, fully God and fully human. Excuse me, I've been out in the garden. You can see my fingers are dirty. That's why I'm sweaty. God, Jesus, Yeshua, was considered fully God and fully human. This is important for our own understanding of faith, giving Jesus his due of the begotten. He came from above, he came from the heavens, and that he was fully God and fully human. The human side came obviously from Mary, Theotokos. The reason why she was given divinity was because she was divinely blessed to bear the Son of God. Okay, so you know, this isn't a Catholic thing. Please understand that. This is faith that is church history. Now, again, most of Christianity after the Reformation, they don't want anything to do with those things. Why? They concentrate mainly on Jesus because it really is about God. We agree. But you see, they want to discount history. They want to discount those things. That's why you don't look at those books. They're considered apocrypha. And in one of those councils, I'm not sure if it's the Council of Nicaea and the Council of Constantinople. This is when they were forming the final books of the Bible, getting up to the 73 books, okay? And just so you know, which is kind of awkward, but if you think about it, they hadn't solidified all the books yet of the Bible. And they would still solidify the books. In other words, are we still good with this book? Yes, we're still good with this book. But the truth of the matter is The book of Revelation. Now, we call it Revelation. It is truly known as the revelation of Jesus Christ. Please understand that. But this book only made it into the Bible by a few votes. You would think, hands down, that would be, ho, well, of course it is. No, it only made it into the Bible by a few votes. And again, you got to dig, but you can find this information. I think it's important to understand the early church. I'm not a religion guy, you know that. I am not a man that follows religion, but I lean towards the early churches, okay? Now, everyone wants to know, why does the Ethiopian Bible have 81 and 88 books, respectively, lower canon, higher canon? Well, quite frankly, what it is what they got from the apostle, okay, and from the people that were fleeing, because, see, they were hiding. They were Christians. Ethiopia was a safe haven. Okay, Ethiopia was the safe haven after Jesus left a few hundred years, because Christians were persecuted. And so they had all the books, okay? The crown, the British crown, Europe, they did not have the true Bible at that point, but the Ethiopian Bible did. See, every book that they got that pertained to Jesus, Old Testament and New Testament, okay, Old Covenant and New Covenant, they kept as their Bible. Did the church fathers, the early popes, try to say, hey, we're not doing that? They did. And the Orthodox, that was a segment of Catholicism, they were there mainly to study the Word. Okay, they have churches, yes, but they were kind of like friars. They were the hermits. They went out and meditated over the Word. And you see, the Orthodoxy agreed with Ethiopia. In other words, if they feel that those books were brought via the Word of God and God's representative, they should stay in their Bible. Now, these are Reader's Digest versions, blips, so you know. But I just want people to kind of understand these things, because we're getting ready to get into some dark things at some point. That I told you I would go over angels, mysticism, different things like that, and the darkness, really the darkness, and how the darkness even works against us via the very Bible we hold dear. I'll show you how the Satanists and the darkness use the 66 books of the Bible through our innocence and ignorance as something, as a mockery, but takes advantage of our innocence. Anyway, talk to you soon.